Well, good morning, everybody. It's Grizzly broadcasting live from northern Kentucky. Yes, I finally have my studio moved. I'm working on the finishing touches. Boy, do we have somebody important. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it is Kerry Eden, the one that everybody's been bugging me about all this morning. Yes, from StarseedTV Kerry Eden. She's actually backstage. Let's bring her forward. Kerry, how are you doing this morning?
Hello, everyone. I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Wonderful. Welcome to the show. Welcome, coast to coast and around the world.
Yeah.
So how's your day been?
Yeah, it's been quite a nice, relaxing one today, actually. Yeah, but I was saying the weather's been a bit, but it's been a nice day. I can't complain. How's yours?
Oh, just started. Unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, yes, I had problems finding my glasses again. So, but yeah, so it's actually going on 10 o'clock here, 10:02. What time is it over there in UK?
Just gone 3 o'clock. So yeah, 2 minutes past.
Yeah. So yes, she is, ladies and gentlemen, from UK. You can tell by her accent. And everybody says I have a country hillbilly accent, and every time I use Siri on my phone, it never works. Right?
Why does it not?
No, but my biggest complaint is we can get cars that can drive themselves, but I cannot get my phone to say what I want it to say. Does not make any sense. So yeah.
So yeah. I don't know what's wrong with that.
Yeah, so introduce yourself and tell us about some history about you. I'm real excited.
Oh, well, my name's Kerry, obviously, and I'm a psychic medium. And I've been speaking to the spirit world 42 years, my whole life. My mum is a psychic medium herself and goes through the generations. So I've been brought up very open and to feel very normal to have a life with the spirit world around me. I'm obviously across different social media platforms now since COVID hit. I mean, I think we all found another way of living since then, especially since we couldn't go out and things like that. So yeah, just kicked off really in the last couple of years across the internet for me.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, we got the conspiracy theories out there that always talk about COVID. But unfortunately, it was a real deal. I lost fellow law enforcement people that were in their 30s that were muscular that contracted COVID, and unfortunately, they passed away. Yes. So, ladies and gentlemen, it was a real issue, and I think it still is. But that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I've obviously doing readings with people. I've had the spirit people coming through that have passed away of COVID. So yes, I am a big believer that it is a thing. I'm also not very well myself, so I also have to be very careful around people that are unwell. So yeah, wearing masks and things was something that I did comply with at the time.
Yeah. Over here, they were like the song Twisted Sisters. We're not gonna take it. Screw you, government. We're not gonna wear the mask. And it's like, good God, people. Yeah. I know it was just awful.
Yeah, I sort of get it though. Like at some point we do have to sort of go back to how we were. But yeah, someone that like myself that's unwell, it did make me quite nervous. But
right. So tell us about yourself. I'm so intrigued about psychics and mediums.
Well, I always say, my husband always laughs at this, that I grew up obviously with the spirit world around me, thinking this was normal, thinking like in the playground, with my friends, like, oh, look, there's a spirit person and your nan's with you, sort of thing. And they were like, no, like, what are you doing, Kerry? And I don't know if you Americans have Bloody Mary out there, but we used to do this thing in the toilets at school where you used to spin round and ask to see Bloody Mary, sort of thing, and scare the lives out of us. But I was always the one that could see her when doing this little ritual in the school toilets when we were doing work. But so yeah, I've just always thought it was just normal, and sometimes even to this day, I have to go, is that normal? Can you feel that? Do you see that? Do you sense that? You know, and my husband goes, no, not everyone does that, Kerry, sort of thing.
You know, that's true because I went on a mission a few months back, and I went to find every psychic and medium that I can talk to and to interview, right, and learn how they tick and talk and what made them work. And I was very intrigued,
Yeah.
and it was amazing when you said that because a lot of them said the same thing. You know, I grew up not knowing the difference,
No,
and
that's it. Yeah, you don't, especially if you're born into it. I mean, some people have awakening later on in their lives, but yeah, if you're born into it, it is just so normal. It really is to have spirit people around you, not just because you're a medium. Anyone, you know, it's very normal for that to be. It's just I happen to pick up on it.
yeah, see, I don't know. I don't know if I can deal with that because, you know, from my experience is that it was real rough in the beginning, right? A lot of
Mm.
them had depression and thought they were just strange and weird because, like you said, you know, it was normal to everybody that had these abilities, and you're like, "What do you mean you're not seeing that?" You know, I do. How come you're not? So, yeah.
Yeah, again, as a kid, we're a bit more susceptible to things as well, and what might not be quite normal, you're not really aware of. So as a kid, again, it's just like okay, sort of thing, and carry on playing. But yeah, at times it has been, and still it is. It's not all plain sailing. It isn't lovely all the time. I mean, 90% of it is, but there is that 10% where they like to sort of test the boundaries and show you scary things at times, and you think, oh God, you know, I wish I couldn't see that part of it, but I wouldn't change it. Let's put it that way. I wouldn't change it for the world.
You know, a lot of people say that now. Uh, a lot of people have gotten older, have starting to open up and embrace it, which is amazing because like 15 to 24 years have elapsed and they were scared of it. They blocked it. And, you know, and their spouses and everybody are like, no, just open up, try it, you know, let it see where it takes you. Now, what number one question I have, and I know this is awful, ladies and gentlemen, but I always ask the same question. How was it with relationships? Because I don't know what kind of abilities you actually have. Well, I do, but I don't want to spoil it. But how was it with relationships though, as you were growing up and getting older?
Yeah, it was one of those things, especially when I was younger and I wasn't doing like readings for people for a living, so just doing readings for friends and family. At the beginning, like in relationships, it's not something I really sort of went, "Oh, hi, this is what I do." I sort of, I suppose, drip fed it in to the relationship slowly over time. My husband now, it's just, it's like living in a haunted house. It just happens all the time. He doesn't necessarily have any psychic or mediumistic skills himself, but he doesn't escape it either. Like he'll be like, "Oh my God, there was someone walking around just then," or "I saw something," or you know, "I felt something," etc., etc. So they don't escape it, I suppose. They sort of have to accept if they want to be with me. The spirit world are coming with me.
Right? Yeah. So, are you able to like sit down with somebody and just out of nowhere be like, "You are a bad person," or "You are such a loving, warm person"?
Yes, yes, absolutely. Yeah, one of my ways of doing my readings is I read photos as well. So sometimes people send me photographs to read their energies or their loved ones. It just helps me connect. And at times I think, oh my God, like ooh, this person isn't quite as nice as I'd hope, you know. So it makes the reading a little bit harder because I try to make it as positive an experience as possible. But yeah, there is that time. Or I could meet someone for the first time and just think, oh God, I want to go home now. You know, I don't want to be in their aura, their energy anymore.
Right.
And vice versa. Sometimes I just think I really clicked with this person. I really love their energy, and I just want to spend as much time with them as possible.
Yeah, that's amazing because that was one of the issues that a lot of people had the abilities. They were like Grizzly.
Mm.
I would meet them and be like, "No, this is not going to work out. I already know. but I had to fight it inside mentally. No, I'm going to try. And my body kept saying, no, don't, because it's going to end up bad. And it always did. And that's why I
Yeah.
asked, was it difficult? Because I cannot imagine. Have TV. Sorry. Hi, I'm late. Hi, Marty, Carrie, and Grizzly. Hello. Hello. Welcome to Grizzly on the Hunt. Everybody's starting to wake up, say, hey, what's up, Hefty? So they're talking to each other now. But no, and it is. And a lot of people don't understand that. So
Mm.
it sounds like you know how to set boundaries and ground yourself. So that's awesome.
Yeah. Oh, it's a massive lesson you have to learn when you do this full time. Really, to sort of protect your own energy. It's like rule number one: protect yourself before you do anything. But there is times when the spirit world will put me in front of someone, and it will be a lesson. So it's almost like they go disguised. So I might not pick up anything, and then something, let's say, bad happens, or some, with that person, and it's not because. For my psychic reasons, I didn't pick it up. It's just there was a lesson to be learned for me and that person to come together. So
Yeah. No, I can actually I know what you're saying because of all the interviews I did and completed. It's amazing to meet people like you all that have the abilities, because you're blessed, right? And some people are like, no, it's actually a curse because they haven't learned to ground themselves, and they get so much pollution with spirits trying to, talk to them 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And I know some of them that are not able to go out in public because they're not able to flip a switch and turn it off, and everybody's screaming at them, hey, get that person over there, get their attention. That's so and so, And I
yeah.
just can imagine trying to shop, and get your groceries or at a mall and constantly hearing something like that in the background. That's terrible.
That you have to learn to open and close. You have to be really strict, like you say, set your boundaries and learn to do this. Some people, like you're talking of, are either born and don't know how to control their gift, let's call it, or it's just happened later on in their life and they're having this awakening. But I always say, find a development circle, find someone in your local area. Or online, if you haven't got someone in your local area that can help you learn the first basics of opening to the spirit world when you want to connect, and then closing back down. Because it's a bit like you wouldn't go to bed at night and leave your front door wide open and unlocked. Well, some of you might, but I wouldn't, because for me, it's a safety reason. You wouldn't want any Tom, Dick and Harry coming in off the road and waking you up and doing things, so you lock your front door, so protect yourself. So you need to do that, because working with the spirit world, it's opening a doorway, and then when you finish, you close it back up until you're ready to do it again. Saying that, though, there is times when I'm trying to sleep at night, because they love the nighttime because your energy frequencies change. That's why they come at night. But where they will just turn up, and I'm like, no, this is my time. I'm still a human. I'm a human having an experience here on earth. So you need to know when I will open up and speak to you, and then I'm just close myself back down and send them on their merry way.
Wow. See, I wish I had that power with my ex-wife, like la ta ta. I've actually bought holy water online from Amazon and tried it on her. Ladies and gentlemen, do not do that. It does not work, right?
Be gone. Be gone, demon.
Well, I tell you what. So I actually became a reverend. And I carried lots of holy water. Yes.
Yeah, me too. I've got it too. Yeah. It's great stuff.
Yes. Now, I always tell everybody that if I'm with you and we're doing something on an investigation and you start getting wet, that's just me just laying in the background. Just bear with me.
Yeah.
I had people want to get me a super soaker, one of those little water guns. I'm like, oh, come on now. That's a little bit too far. But they're like, they're always like, I want to take your water and put it in so-and-so's drink. And I'm like, oh, don't you dare. They're like, why? I'm like, because it's got chlorine in it. And, that I actually got it from the church. And the reason why it's got chlorine in it is because of bacteria and diseases and everything else. And people don't know, if you drink chlorine water, you will get violently ill and violently sick, and you will have to use the restroom quite a bit, and I can see somebody going, ah! There are demons inside them. Oh my Lord.
Releasing them.
Yeah. Yeah. So I try to tell people, so the ones in the white bottles do not consume at all. So I always tell people that, just in case, if I'm sleeping or they want to try to, now you can put water on them, that's fine without them knowing. And that's amazing. Have you ever done that? Put water on somebody and they don't know it and they start like just acting a little strange or something?
Funny you say that. I haven't put it on them and done that, but what I've done is I've held the bottle up behind them and they don't realise, and I've seen reactions like that. So I suppose it's in the same thing coming into their ear, isn't it? So
yeah. So a lot of people don't realize. I don't know if I can grab one. So crucifixes, ladies and gentlemen, if you use crucifixes, let me see if I can get in front of the camera. They have to have Jesus on them to actually be an actual crucifix. So you can look that up. I'm not making it up. So for ghost hunters and people that actually do the paranormal field, I have like all different kinds. So I do lay these on people while they're sleeping, and it's amazing. They cough and start snoring. And I'm like, oh my God, get the holy water, quick, quick. It's never a dull moment, ladies and gentlemen, around me. I mean, I love to have a ball. So, but it is something. But you never know when I'm going to bring to the table on investigations or with somebody. Somebody Hefty V's like snarling growl right now. So yeah.
Hefty Marty, I have a podcast that I sit with them every Friday. That's where I know them from.
Do you? Yeah. Now, if somebody starts to growl, I actually okay. So I moved studios, right?
Do you get that often?
I moved locations, and I'm in northern Kentucky in the backwoods. You can tell from my backdrop, and I didn't have a lot of help because where I moved to, my chat's not working right. Hell no, we can see you. It's coming up, and so I got lots of holy water, and I get it from Holy Rosary Catholic Church in Lexington, because they have one of those big fountains where they can go in and baptize you in the auditorium. And they tell me, they're like, hey, you're a reverend, blah, blah, blah. Anytime you want holy water, the door's always unlocked. I'm like, it's a wrong thing to tell me. So, so I got a lot of holy water because I knew I was moving. And yes, I can bless water and turn it into holy water. I know how to do it. And my parents were helping me move. And they were like finding all these wine bottles. And I heard them mumbling. And I'm like, what are they talking about? So I was like, whatever. I just kept packing and unloading stuff. And they're like, son, we need to have a talk. And I'm like, what is this going to be about, Mom and Dad? Are you like serious? Well, we think you have a problem. I'm like, you think so? I deal with the paranormal. So let's start there. What direction you want to run into? And they're like, no. And they held up a wine bottle and they're like, it looks like you have a drinking problem. And I just busted out laughing.
Brilliant.
And they're like, this is not funny. This is a serious time. And I'm like, no, Mom and Dad. It's like, before you go any further, open up and smell it. They're like, no, we can read the outside of the bottle. We know what's in it. I'm like,
they wouldn't happen it.
Yes. I'm like, open it up. It's going to smell like pool water. So what does my mom do? She opens it up and goes, and my father's name's Mike. And she was like, Mike, he's right. It smells like pool water. I'm like, guys, it's holy water. So, yeah. So, thank you for the beard comment. I love, that's why they call me Grizzly. So, but yeah, so they thought I had a drinking problem.
Oh, I bet they were like,
yeah, right. Right. So, but it's funny. So how did you get your abilities? Were they passed down from generation from like your parents or grandparents? How, or was it a near-death experience or something?
No, it's been passed down. My mum's a medium healer as well. So I think it just came through the generation. generations like that experience. Generational, I think. And we've been just being brought up very open in an open spiritual family that way as well. Just never shut me down.
Wow. Yeah. That's one thing I noticed during the interview process. A lot of people either had a NDE, a near-death experience, or
Yeah.
most of the time it was past. And it was amazing to see how far the bloodline went back or the abilities. And I noticed sometimes too, it would skip generations, right?
Yeah.
So, and that was pretty fantastic just to learn about. So, yeah, that's pretty awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to give call outs to admins and moderators and everybody that's letting us broadcast live in their groups. Thank you out there in La La Land. I appreciate it in Facebook. If you have any questions, please fire away. I'm trying to monitor the incoming comments as we go. Ladies and gentlemen that don't know me, I'm kind of slow, so you're going to have to bear with me a little bit.
Me too.
Yes. So, but what are some of your fears doing this type of work in the paranormal?
I don't have many fears. I suppose because I work in my own home, I work from home, that who am I going to bring in? I suppose there's an element of that, who's going to come? Is there something going to come in that I can't get rid of and I'm going to have to get outside help? But there is no real fear as such anymore. When I was younger, there was more sort of worried about things like that. But no, as I'm getting older and I've been doing this longer, that there isn't many fears. I just love it. I just absolutely love everything about it. Like my husband always says, if I'm not doing this sort of thing and doing my readings, I'm watching paranormal programs, anything that's mysteries and things like that. I can't get enough of it. I'm a bit obsessed by it, I suppose.
That makes two of us, and it's, ladies and gentlemen, a lot of things we see on TV are for entertainment purposes. And I found out I get a lot of emails and texts. They're like, Grizzly, I went and done an investigation and I got home and now I have nightmares for 2 weeks solid. Me and my boyfriend are constantly fighting and we need help. And I'm like, okay, what did you do and everything? Well, we watched ABC show and we were like, what the hell? We can do this. So we went out and tried it. Well, that is a big no-no, ladies and gentlemen, because you don't want to provoke things, first off. And not every place you go to is haunted with demons, okay? You do have angry spirits and pissed off spirits. Yeah. I mean, if a location is active and people go there over and over, and I was a ghost or a spirit or energy,
you get annoyed.
I want to have a little fun with somebody every once in a while or get aggravated, but like, come on, man, leave me alone.
I'm looking forward to it. I can't
You're
wait.
Right. Right. So, and they always ask me for prayers and such, which I have in my arsenal along with my other tools that I can show or demonstrate. But unfortunately, the prayers that I have, I always tell people there's two things you got to have. Number one, you have to have a pure heart. Number two, you got to have faith. Yeah. If you don't have those two items, what I give you will never work. That's why I always ask for you to go out and get real help from clergy or psychics or mediums or somebody that actually is into the paranormal field. Because you can make things worse, ladies and gentlemen. You really can. How do I feel about Zach Baggins? Hey, I'm going to smile and say he is the perfectly, I love him with all my love goes out to him, right? So you never hear me talk negative about anybody. I won't do it. And here's why. And everybody asks me in the paranormal field when it comes to Bigfoot or Dogman, they're like, Grizzly, is this picture video real? And I'm like, well, two things, ladies and gentlemen. A, I wasn't there. And number two, I didn't take it. They're like, well, what do you think? Well, here's the thing. When you're dealing with the paranormal field, Uh, let's picture us watching TV, and there's a romantic scene, and a candle that's lit at a dinner table. And there's a couple there. Well, if you realize when you're sitting there watching it, everybody around them is blurry, right? So our eyes are like a camera lens that only can focus on one thing at a time.
Yeah.
So if Carrie and I are out there in the woods and she says, Grizzly, look, 60 yards to your left. And we're looking inside this bush and we see what we know what we see. But she brings up a camera and takes a picture. Now, it depends on the shading, depends on the camera shading, the setting, shutter speed, and all these other, things now that are available on cameras that they're either automatic or manual. If you don't have that set right, your picture's not going to come out right. But we're going to swear up and down, you and I saw something.
Yeah.
So, and that's why I don't critique pictures or videos, because I always hear, oh God, here comes another blob squab or another blurry image. Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you're out there in the woods and you're Humpty Dumpty alone, with the little fairies and playing with your pixie dust, and all of a sudden a 900-pound ape thing jumps out and goes, rawr, is the first thing on your mind is to pull out your phone and take a picture? Hell no. My first thing is to run like hell. Okay. Now, if you're in front of me, guess what? You're going to eat the dirt while I'm still running, because I'm going to sacrifice somebody, and I'll say a blessing on the way for you to make sure you're straight.
Yeah, you're doing your holy water as you're running.
Trust me, I got that down pat on the treadmill. So, yes. But really,
no,
and a couple of things too is we learn, I don't know if you know, Carrie, is that these entities or monsters, or whatever you want to call them, they do interfere with electronics. So we're seeing more people going back to the old cameras. So that doesn't have the interference. So beware pawn shop owners and thrift stores. That's why you're selling out of them. So, because usually a lot of them are wound up or mechanical. So, yeah.
I used to have one of those first digital cameras, and it got some great pictures on that. I wish I had it today, because now you don't get nothing on my cameras. And you're right, all my electronical stuff breaks all the time. You'll probably see the internet keeps dropping in and out, and we've got the best internet in the area that we can get, but it just, for whatever reason, it will just drop and come back, and it's just like,
Yeah, and it actually happened a few minutes ago with you, and we call them gremlins, right?
Yeah.
Every time we do a live paranormal show, always something happens, and I'm over the coincidence part. They're gremlins in the system that like to tinker with their electronics. I'm sorry.
I think they draw off it, don't they? And they can use the energy, and that's what they do. That's what I feel when they're around.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's my take, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said, I'll never talk negative about anybody. I don't believe in it. No. And the other side of it, the reason why I don't, since you brought that up, let's say Carrie is brand new to the paranormal field, and she actually had an encounter, let's say last week, with a Sasquatch. And she is right, and she is in one of my groups, and she's just about to come forward and be like, hey, I had an encounter too. And she wants to tell her story, but she sees Sarah, Tom, Dick, and Harry get slaughtered. I'm talking made fun of, just chopped down, smeared. And Carrie's like, hell no, I'm not telling my story. Not after I saw that. Nope, I'm keeping to myself. So we don't do that to people. And plus, in my groups that I own, which are many, you can post anonymously. So you don't have to show yourself or your face or your Facebook name, whatever. So you can still show or tell your story.
Yeah. Yeah, that's brilliant. I like that.
Yeah, I mean, we really try. We want the door open for everybody, because I have people all the time, like, we'll get off the show today. They'll be like, you know what? I see the same thing Carrie saw when she was younger, and I thought it was something wrong with me, and I'm on medicine.
Yeah.
And, and I would tell them, when I took psychology, that was the biggest problem I had, is because I was interviewing these psychics, and we know children, little children, can see things we cannot, right? That
Oh,
that is proven
absolutely.
fact.
Yeah.
So
When
how
I
can
was little,
I? Oh, go ahead.
no, I was just going to say, when I was little, I used to have what I would call the sparkles. I was really little, and I used to go to sleep at night. And I've told this story before, but there would be stars in my room in the darkness, and then they would start spinning like a
Oh,
funnel. And then I'd see a spirit hand come in, and they would play this game with me where they would throw like presents in, and I would try and catch them and things. I'd never heard this story before until about 4 or 5 years ago, when someone handed me a book called Children See Sparkles or something like that. And this woman had written a book with the same experiences. And I was like, I
wow.
thought this was just me that this was happening to. And I forgot about the story, until quite recent, like those years ago sort of thing. And I was like, oh my God.
See,
So
that's amazing. That's why I always tell people, always come forward. Don't worry about, backlash. We have avenues. And I tell them all the time, if you come online, we can change your name. You don't have to show your face. We can do audio only. You can
oh,
put
that's
up a
good.
picture of your past loved one or a background or whatever you want to choose. Because I want people to feel comfortable
Yeah,
telling their story.
we need to spread the light. I mean, people are opening up more and more these days, but more people to come
Yes.
forward and say this happened. And it's wonderful that you can do that just by audio, let's say, because I feel like you will get more people coming forward and saying, Grizzly, do you know what? Like, this happened to me, or this happened. Does anybody else experience this? So it's amazing.
Yeah, well, I really try to, have different avenues for people that have stuff that's bottled up to where they can come
Mm,
forward.
mm.
And, my goal years ago was try to unite the paranormal world because, and I will talk negative about this, ladies and gentlemen. I call it a Gestapo, right? It's like for you to join my Facebook group, you had to believe in this way or it's the highway. And I'm like, you cannot force people to think that way,
Yeah.
because people have different encounters, people have different experiences, but the totality of circumstances, and this is the law enforcement coming out of me, the totality of circumstances, that means all the evidence as a whole, right? Not
Yeah.
separated or segregated, is
Mhm.
that there are similarities across the board.
Yeah.
So that tells me that Carrie from UK has seen the same thing as Georgia from California, because the stories are so similar. And how can we say Carrie's telling the truth and Georgia's not, or vice versa? So, you have to weigh out the truth and balances. And yes, then you're going to say, well, people have mental illness.
Mhm.
Yes, we have a lot of mental illness in the world, and it's a very serious problem.
Yes.
And that was one of the things I had a problem with psychology, because they were like, okay, let's take Carrie, for example. Now, this is hypothetical. I'm not saying this is true by any means. And they're like, okay, Grizzly, sit her down, diagnose her, prescribe her medication, and send her on the way. And I'm like, I can't do that. They're like, what do you mean you can't do that? I was like, Professor, what
Yeah.
happens? She is a psychic and has abilities. They're like, take the class. I'm like, no, wait a minute. The kids, we want to put them on, Adderall and all this other stuff. And, I'm telling you, people actually see things. They're like, take the class, Grizzly. And I'm like, no, but with Grizzly. I'm like, wait, Grizzly. And I was like, listen to me. Like, take the class. I'm like, yes, sir, I'm taking the class.
Yeah.
And that was my biggest hurdle, because I had that block, that mental block, because that's what everybody wants to do today, was put medicine down your throat and shove you on the way, instead of be like, hey, there's a possibility that Carrie may have something, right?
And in more serious cases, they will lock people up, wouldn't they, in mental
Yes.
asylums? And those places, oh my God, like, as you probably know, one of the most haunted places to go, because they're opening up all sorts of portholes there, and medicating people. So it's like a cocktail of all negative energy, really, in those sort of places. And that's why they're haunted as much as they are.
Yeah, and ladies and gentlemen, I think that's why today we don't have asylums that are
Yeah.
named asylums, because
Yes.
back then, if you were different, basically, they would put you away out of public eye.
Yeah, I'd be away, yeah, as well. If I was, back in the day, they would have burnt me at the stake as well, wouldn't they? As was a witch. So,
Oh my gosh, yes, yes. They would dunk you and dunk you. And I learned last night from another psychic that she went over to Scotland and
mm,
she didn't realize that her bloodline was murdered during the witch trial part over there and got beheaded.
wow.
And she was like picking up all these horrible feelings and images, and she couldn't understand it until she went back and did her research. And she was like, "Oh my gosh, they were my ancestors." So she's going back now this year, and now she's got her antennas up. And she would tell me, I didn't know about this, but back in those times, they had devices to where they would put on your finger and they would squeeze them and they would pop off your fingernails to get you to admit that you are a witch.
Oh my God.
And if they didn't do that, then they would tie you, your hands by your ankles, to put you in the middle of the crowd, and people would stone you. And if that didn't work, they would put you on the block and chop your head off. And she went through all this progress, through the transitions of going through that. And it was like, wow. And, it really is amazing because, I cannot pick up stuff like that, but you all can. So, yeah, thumb screws, Hef TV says. Thumb screws, that is correct. That's what they were called.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we tried to Google it last night live on the show, and it
Where
kept
was she?
Scotland. And she's in America now. But
Oh,
we
right.
kept Googling it
Oh, right.
on Google, and it kept telling us how to pop off your fake fingernails. So that was funny because we were scared we were going to get it first. So yes, you had to use the right phrase, the right verbiage to actually come up with, because we didn't know what we was going to get from Google, right? So, which I like to use
Well, it's always a
DuckDuckGo,
risk.
but yes, yes. So yes, thanks, FTV. I love fact checkers out there. I really do, because I'm terrible with facts sometimes. But I mean, so your experiences, encounters, what do you do when somebody comes to you and like, hey, I want a reading, and you sit down and you're like, this is like a lot of bad news. I mean, how do you tell them the bad news? Do you sugarcoat it? Do you break it easily to them? Or are you just like, look, this is going to hurt. I know this is not what you want to know, but here's what they're telling me. And here it is.
Very much. Yeah, years of experience of how to sort of break it easy to them. I always tell them, but I try and break it easy. Like a lot of the time, those sort of things around their love life, like, should I be with this person? Is my partner cheating on me? Oh, I hate those ones, but that's why they're there. So it's like, oh God, like I've got to tell them what I'm seeing. So I always say, look, those sort of questions are usually from the tarot cards. And I always say, it's just a guidance. Remember, this is a guidance, and the universe can put you on a different pathway at any point in your life if you desire. But as we sit right now and here, the tarot cards are saying X, Y, and Z. But it's years of trying to dress it up nicely and learning the correct ways of presenting it. And that's really, really important too, without doing any other psychics down. But when I've seen some psychics work before, there's no niceness, there's no fluffiness around it. They're quite rude, they're quite straight to the point, and they don't realise, because I've been the person in the receiving end of what a bad reading can do for someone. I've walked away from readings and thought, oh my God. And it's really stuck with me, with the things that they've told me, and really worried me. So you've got to be careful, because you in some way are changing people's lives with the words that you're giving them.
No, you're absolutely right. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to mention names, but there have been people that has told people wrong information, and they were so distraught, they actually went home and committed suicide.
Yeah.
So it's very important in how you relay and send the information to the recipient. Yes, I totally agree with that. I really do.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why I always say again, development class, find yourself a good teacher, because there's one thing being born like this or having an awakening, but there's another thing than going out and dealing with the public and doing it as a living. You've got a big responsibility to how you deliver and what you deliver at the end of the day. So yeah, it's very important.
And I want to touch on that subject and defend you and people with abilities. Uh, the reason why they do this for a living, and I'm not saying everyone, why they do charge, because most of them may not, but
Yep.
that's the only thing they're able to do. They can't commingle every day in a work environment, because of what they're being contacted every day. That would drive me insane. So that's why, like, you work out of your home, that's your safe zone.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of people don't think about that. They always think it's all about the money. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if that was the case, I wouldn't be using backdrops. I would have elaborate studios of my dreams.
Absolutely.
I would have these big gold chains around my neck and all that other stuff. And, we're in it for the love of the paranormal field and love of the psychics and mediums.
Yeah.
So always tell people, if people go out and investigate your home or business, whatever, they don't charge you. It's okay to give them gas money and supply a meal or two. It's no big deal. I mean, they're not going to ask for it, but they're not going to turn it down either. Khalid, hi, all means tarot cards and astrology, energy predict know what will happen in the future. The unseen is only known by God and God alone. So, not to get real biblical, yes, God knows the unseen in the future. God has made creatures seen and unseen, because I know, because I studied it, which was very hard. I'm not going to deny it. So, yes, I do believe in that. Everybody can believe in their own higher power. That's fine. I'm not going to get into that. But I do believe in my belief, so that's fine as well. But looking at overall your life, right? And what would you say to somebody that beware of psychics? Let's use that phrase. How can you tell a real psychic from somebody that's trying to scam you, basically?
Well, first do your research and research that person, that's the psychic, the medium. So yeah, go by recommendation. I always say, because I get a lot of people scamming my accounts on social media, they take my photos, videos, build an account,
Yes,
and then approach the public. I always say a true psychic medium like myself would never approach you first. They would never inbox you saying, "Oh, I felt drawn to you. I really would like to do you a reading for X amount of money." If you want to book a reading with me, let's say, you inbox me or you go to my Etsy shop and you book yourself a reading that way. But always read the reviews, always do your research on that individual that you're wanting a reading with.
I mean, that is a good way, because one of the things I hear all the time, right? Well, let's see here. Well, what is a good one?
I know you have a curse. So for $500, I'll remove it.
And I'm like, really? Go fly a kite. I do not have a curse. Good try. But you'd be surprised how many people actually pay that. And it's sad. And I've known people that paid up to $1,500 to $2,500 just to remove a curse. And unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, people are that gullible. They really are.
And again, it depends, like, without going too deep into it. And I don't remove curses, by the way. But what I do know about them is it depends who's put the curse on you. Because you can't just go, "Oh, I'll just remove any old curse because I've been trained." You've got to be trained in that religion, that section, wherever that culture, wherever that curse has come from. You can't just start dabbling. And I know you just picked a figure out the air, but I wouldn't want to do that for all the tea in China, because I wouldn't want that reflecting back on me and then me carrying around that curse. So have your wits about you with all this. That's what I say. Have your wits about you. If it seems too good to be true, it usually is.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. So I have a wide, vast knowledge, or not knowledge, resources when it comes to my personal psychics that I interviewed that, they're on my administrative team. And I tell people the good psychics, from my experience, not always, don't ask questions, right? Because most of people go to psychics for love, money, and whatever the third one is, not rock and roll. That's the
Career,
old saying. Yeah.
health, whatever.
Career, health. That's normal. And anybody can make whatever up they want to, and, and call themselves whatever they want to.
Yeah.
But a lot of them will sit there and, I'll be actually talking to psychics during an interview, and they'll be like, Grizzly, you got to stop. I got to tell you something. And I'm like, what? They're like, tap dancing. And I'm like, tap dancing? I was like, I don't know where you're coming off with that. I never tap dance. I'm never going to tap dance. I'm hurt. I got back problems. They're like, no, listen to me, taps. And I'm like, I'm telling you, you're in the wrong direction. And I would cut them off. They're like, would you just shut your pie hole for 1 minute? I'm trying to tell you something. When you were a child, back when you were younger, you would go down to the lake, and at 6 o'clock every night at the river, you would go out to the porch on the outside and play your trumpet and play taps. And I would be there like, oh, nobody knows that. And I'm like, what? And they're like, your grandfather's standing right behind you, and he misses that because he loved when you played it, because it would echo for miles around the river. And that would just just mind boggle me, right? Now, those are psychics that I trust.
Yeah.
So
I always call it the random stuff that comes through, because it is.
Yeah.
It's like the tap dancing. Always take information like that. And even if you don't get it straight away, take it home, let it resonate, because I always believe it will come out. It will come out if the spirit world are bringing it forward like that. It's amazing how it works.
Yeah, you're right. And ladies and gentlemen, Kerry actually brings up a really good point that I've learned with dealing with people with abilities. It doesn't make sense sometimes at first when they explain things to you. Don't get frustrated. Do not get frustrated if you go to somebody and they're not able to connect. That happens, ladies and gentlemen. So don't say that they're a fake or a fraud. It does not. It happens. And I also learned that not every psychic is 100% on. They do have their good days and bad days like we do. They do have a lot of noise, a lot of pollution into their thoughts and how they retrieve information some days. You being negative with bad mojo energy, I call, can affect them, contacting spirits or getting information from energy. There's a lot of factors involved in this. So it's not like you go up and like, hi, Kerry, read my mind, would you?
Oh yeah, I wish it was that easy. Yeah, you're absolutely right in what you're saying. It's to do with my energy, the spirit energy, where I'm doing my reading, who's with me in the room, who isn't with me. There's 101 factors. I always say it was a bit like back in our day, when we used to phone abroad, you get that crackly line sort of thing. You're like this, like our internet really. When it's like, and you're trying to like make it out what they're saying, and you're like, what was that? Oh, but I think they're saying this, but you may get it wrong because you missed that middle bit. Do you know what I mean? And you're stringing the last two bits together to make a sentence. So it can be like that, because I always say my energy is down here, the spirit world's up there, and I'm trying to lift mine up, and they're trying to come down, and somewhere in there is where the communication's happening. But we can't be still, both of us, at the same time. So we're a little bit like this. And it's like doing a jigsaw puzzle really, really quick for me. I always think of it like trying to do it and make it make sense for the client.
That is correct. Hef TV says there should be a better psychics bureau. I totally agree with that. Yeah, that would be awesome. Yeah. But another factor too that I think people should be aware of is that being negative, I'll let you explain what PK is. But you can also manifest your own things, your own entities, being negative and having negativism in your body with going to readings. Am I correct on that?
Oh, yeah. I always say don't feed the medium, don't feed the psychic, clearly, obviously, but don't sit there going, because as soon as you're like that, it's like you've shut like a door, you've put like a brick wall up. interact with the person that you're having a reading with, but don't feed them. Go in bubbly. The happy and bubbly energy that you can take in there, that psychic medium is going to pick up the energy, and it's going to be a lot better reading you're going to get, because it's a positive energy that you're bringing forward. But if you're a negative person, or you're going just because you just thought, oh, we've got nothing better to do on a Sunday afternoon, you're not going to get the best reading, because your energy is negative, it's low, and you're not really wanting to be there.
Yeah, that is actually true. And I've learned something else by doing my homework and research. I learned that the ones that are not true psychics or mediums or have the true abilities, they are very good with interpreting body language, and they have studied up on interrogation. And the reason why I said that is I'm prior law enforcement, and both my daughters will tell you, and everybody I always worked with, even my bosses, when I became their bosses and bosses, I can tell when somebody was telling me the truth. No, and I'd be like, and they were like, damn it, Grizzly, I hate it when you do that. I'm like, just don't even go down that path. My ex-wife hated it. And my daughters, would be like, look, see that? That's my dad. If he asks you a question, tell him the truth, nothing but the truth. So help you, because he will bust you out right away.
Don't bother lying.
Down. Yeah. And I mean, I don't know how he does it. And it always comes natural to me. And to me, it's always been a curse, right? And because it's like your loved ones, instantly. And it's like, So, yes, I have a lot of years training with interrogation and interviewing skills, a lot of training with body language, micro expressions. I got into handwriting analysis, where I can take somebody's handwriting and tell you if they're cuckoo or not, or if they were telling the truth. That was hard, but once you got into it, it became real easy. So when I went to the law enforcement and to the private sector, the civilian side, these companies were like, Grizzly, you walk on water. Oh my gosh. I'm like, no, I don't. This is simple. And they're like, how do you get confessions out of these people? Right. I'm like, it's just a very simple technique. Once you learn it and you do it about 1900 times, it becomes second nature.
Yeah.
So, and I know these psychics, wannabes, learn this technique. So when they're out there and they're talking to you, they're like, okay, Kerry, so you're here. I'm getting somebody. It's a male. And you're like, so they know right then and there that they hit on the male subject.
Yeah.
Okay, it seems like maybe an older male. Oh my gosh. So now they're thinking either a dad or maybe a grandfather. And that's how it trickles down.
Yeah.
And to me, that's fishing, not fishing like a fishing pole, but pH fishing.
Yeah.
So you got to be careful. And I tell that because I love people, and I do not like people being taken advantage of.
No, do your research again, whoever it is that you want to have a reading with. Yeah, definitely. Go by recommendation and do your research.
Oh, absolutely. So speaking of recommendations and research, how do people get a hold of you if they want to and reach out?
I'm on Facebook. So that is obviously, I don't know if you've got a link here somewhere, but I'm over there, and I'm on TikTok. I mean, that's psychic_medium_Kerry. I'm on Instagram, and that's StarseedTV. I used to go by this one name, but unfortunately I got hacked, my Facebook and Instagram. So I had to restart again. So the slightly different names. Annoying, but Facebook, I believe it's StarseedTV Kerry. They'll probably find me on your page, won't they, if they look for me?
Oh, absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, please reach out. And, if you need to get a hold of her, reach out, talk to her, book sessions with her. She is the real deal and legit. I did my homework. Everybody did my homework on you. It's like nonstop. We want Kerry.
Thank you.
We want Kerry. So I am a lot broadcasting in the UK, so I got a lot of UK followers. So like I was telling Kerry before the show, ladies and gentlemen, somehow the program I'm using is not keeping up with the actual counter of who's watching the show. So if you go back and look at the numbers, throw that out the window. They can't figure it out because on so many platforms, so many Facebook groups. I don't know how it works on theirs, but we're trying to figure it out. But yes, follow her. And I don't think she would hesitate on giving recommendations or helping somebody out,
No.
at all. And, and if you reach out to me, like a lot of people do, Grizzly, help me. What kind of prayer for cleansing my house? I probably will not give it to you because, like I said, for things to work, you got to have a pure heart. You got to have faith, and if you don't do it the proper way, you can make things work. Or
Yeah.
oh yeah, what is PK? People don't know what PK is.
Do you mean parakinetic?
Yes.
Isn't that like well, you've put me on the spot now. Isn't that like where our minds can make paranormal activity?
Yes, that is correct.
So it's not actually a spirit that's moving, let's say, the cup across the kitchen surface. It's our own energy. And a lot of teenagers that are going through puberty create this energy. That's correct, isn't it, Grizzly?
Yes, that is correct. That is correct. We actually had one on the show last night that actually had her own shows through the network. And there was so much paranormal going on. Herself manifested so much more negative energy. They had to literally screw in the back door and install special locks to keep the door shut. And she had bought special thick curtains to cover the door because she knew something was in the backyard. And what was weird is that the grass by her back door would grow to her height within a week and a half, only in this square footage, and the rest of the yard would grow normal. And I was like, man, you got pictures? She's like, yeah, we got videos and all, and I want to see it. And I mean, that's really strange, right? And she had people over, and she went to open up the back door, the curtains, and the lock was busted, and the glass was kicked out. And after they went back and they did research, and watched the footage, they couldn't figure out how it happened. And she realized that her mentor was like, that was you. You caused that. You PK'd that yourself because of everything else going on with inside the home with the negative energy. You just increased that intensity, and that was one of your fears, somebody coming through the back door. So yes, it does happen. Yeah, absolutely. Is there anything else you'd like to add? It was great having you on the show. Lovely.
No, I think we've covered it. It's been my pleasure. I've absolutely loved it. It's been so lovely meeting you.
Oh, it's been my honor. Ladies and gentlemen, we have it here. We have StarseedTV Kerry Eden. Wonderful. She's been a perfect guest like always. I love to have you back on at any time. The invitation's always welcome, right? I think it'd be pretty cool to have you back on. Maybe, ladies and gentlemen, maybe some of her clients won't mind if we can maybe eavesdrop while she does a reading or something. That'd be pretty cool. I'm just planting a seed, A lot of times readings, ladies and gentlemen, are personal, so they don't want them being shown or aired. But every once in a while, that's true. But thank you so much for coming on the show. Unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, it's that time of day. We must say goodbye. FTV, great show. Thanks, Grizz and Kerry. Everybody out there, don't forget to like us and follow us. I greatly appreciate that. Sawyer Sniper, you can see on the weekends live. Great. Yes. What time is your shows?
7 p.m. UK time over on my TikTok, Psychic Medium Kerry, or my Instagram, StarseedTV.
That is awesome. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to come on my show and tell your story or be a guest, you see my email at the bottom. It's Grizzly, the paranormal at gmail.com. That's Grizzly, the paranormal at gmail.com. It says, bye, Marty. Love the show. Thank you, Kerry. That is 2 p.m. Eastern time. Thank you. I am terrible with time zones. I need to get all those clocks above my studio that shows UK time and all that. Because, I mean, we are worldwide broadcasting right now. So, and I am terrible with time zones at times. So, but ladies and gentlemen, you heard it from StarseedTV Kerry Eden. Have a great day too. I will see you. I'll be live here at noon on Rumble on the Dark Outpost with my special hour edition with them. Make sure and like and subscribe. Send me an email, ladies and gentlemen. From coast to coast and around the world, from Northern Kentucky, broadcasting live. It's that time. I hate to say goodbye, but it's been a great show. Thank you all and take care. We'll see you soon, and I'll see you there too as well at noon. Bye-bye, ladies and gentlemen.